Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I am super psyched to chat with Lex today. It's going to be a treat because it is a combination of music and art and how all of those things come together in the most beautiful way. So soon, Mr. Alexis will be joining us, and he is going to tell us all about how he is using his music to create change and how we can do that with our students. I've listened to his album already. It is so amazing, and y'all are going to want to take a peek for sure. So he will be joining us any moment here. Hey, here we go. And I'm super excited to talk to him. So as we chat, you guys will have to pop in any comments or questions to our group. Hey, Lex, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi, you have the best smile. You're always so excited to join the chat. I love it.
Thanks. I'm just happy it worked. Like sometimes it's like glitches and stuff and it's
I
working.
know. I know. Yeah, completely. Because you know what it's like to be a virtual teacher. That was
Yeah.
you last year, and it's like you got to send all the best vibes to the tech world, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's get started. Can you tell everybody who's joining the chat today who you are? What are you all about?
Hi everybody. It's cool. Some of you actually know me, but my name is Alexis Dean. I also go by the name Mr. Alexis or LEX is my rap name. I am a teacher. I'm also a clean hip hop artist, and I tend to mix both of those together so I can teach kids through my personal experiences, but also to motivate them to get through different things throughout their school career and also just throughout life in the real world.
Yeah, it's so amazing. There's so many pieces that if anybody just goes to check out your page, and after this, I will be sharing a bunch on the Art of Ed story about how you can follow more about Mr. Alexis and learning about his work and his new album. There are so many cool things to check out about him, especially on his website. There's lots of content there. But can you just tell us a little bit about like what kind of topics do you cover? What are some of your songs? Just give us, for people who aren't familiar with your music,
Mhm.
what they could expect to hear.
Yeah, so I give a wide range of different things. I can go from joyful rapping with kids talking about attendance and black excellence and joyful things. But I also make sure that I talk about experiences I had growing up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, like going through racism or knowing how hard it is to grow up without much money, or my dad passed away when I was 7 years old, so I had to experience that. So I do a lot of showing that joy, and then I also connect with a lot of the kids and grown-ups by showing this real side of me that I persevered, and you can do that too.
Yeah, I love it. I think more so than anything, kids love models. They love modeling and seeing somebody actually doing something that they can kind of connect with, right? They see their teacher, they see their someone they look up to creating work and being an artist in a musical sort of way. But also you are an amazing writer too. You write all your own lyrics.
Hmm.
It's for sure an expression of creativity. So I think kiddos love to see that kind of modeling a little bit too. Can you tell
Yeah.
us some of like the artists that inspire you, like musically, or where do you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, well, J. Cole just released a new album, so he's not paying me for promo.
Ah,
That's a
love
great
J. Cole.
release. He's like one of my favorites right now. But growing up, I used to listen to Lil Wayne and Eminem and Tupac and Jay-Z and all these different artists, which I just told you guys I'm a clean hip hop artist, and you're probably like, none of those artists are clean. But what I do, and what I had to do throughout my growing up is pick from those artists things that I really liked and what I respected and saw. And I always loved lyricism and I love storytelling and music. So I'm really supportive of artists who are genuine and tell their story through their music. And that's what I try to do. That's why I connect with the kids so much, because they listen to my music and they're like, that is you. Like they know that like that's my personality 100%.
For sure. It comes through in your music for sure, but I also love too, it is kind of a different side because you're
Mhm.
so joyful, but there is also like so much realness and storytelling in your music that it's like I feel like anybody can connect to aspects of your pieces. And I mean, so I'm an elementary teacher, obviously. You taught elementary. Like the
Mhm.
little ones just love having like to brag on their teacher as like a
Yeah,
hip hop artist is so cool.
yeah, yeah. Fun
Can
being
you
at It was fun being at Mendota because just being at that school, I got to DJ for the kids. I got to have tutoring sessions where we actually wrote raps, and they just clicked to me like I was their big brother rather than
of
like I'm.
course.
So that was fun.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so that brings us a little bit into the classroom because, like I said, I'll be sharing a bunch of content for art teachers, educators, parents,
Mhm.
anybody that's looking for any ways to inspire their kids because music, as we know, is an awesome path to show our creativity.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you've been doing in partnership with the Madison Public Library is doing like these read aloud, rap alouds kind of situation. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that and what that whole project is all about?
Yeah, so I've been connecting with Madison Public Library just because I've always felt like it was a safe space when I moved to Madison, Wisconsin. And we were thinking during this COVID pandemic, how can we still engage the students while everything is virtual? And I had a meeting with them and I was like, I've been doing these 4 Bar Friday raps and like little raps online, but what if we change that into being about books and story tell with rapping? And it clicked right away, and so many kids loved it. Some of them saw books that they already read, and it was cool for them. But some kids never read certain books, and until they heard the rap, and then they were like, "Oh, I need to read Hair Love, or I need to read the Fresh," stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's super fun because there's picture any book you're going to read aloud to your students, or maybe show a video of a read aloud. Adding an extra level of connection where it's wrapped is like takes it to the next level. Like you have the Very Hungry Caterpillar wrapped, you have the let's see, Undefeated
Yeah.
wrapped, Hair Love. Like there's a whole collection of them, and I'm hoping you're gonna do more, hopefully, because they're amazing. But those are really fun to integrate into your classroom too, and I'll be sure to link up a bunch of those so you guys can share those with your students as well because it's pretty sweet. So that's obviously a really amazing connection that you have. Can you tell us too about how you kind of like connect your personal story and your activism and who you are as a person and an educator, but then
Mhm.
bringing that into your classroom with your teaching? So right now you're not in the classroom, correct?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So how do you kind of bring those things together and start conversations with students about what you're rapping about?
Yeah. Well, one thing that I do is I always bring my complete self to the classroom or to working with kids. A lot of the things that we try to do in the classroom is guard ourselves and protect the kids. But what we really are doing are neglecting the things that they're already seeing. So I try to make sure to listen to what they have to say. So then I can actually like work with them on a positive way and control that narrative of different things like what a protest can look like, what can standing up for yourself look like. So then I can work with them and show that your voice is actually powerful. You can actually make some change even as a 4 year old or a 7 year old. You can do some things too.
Yeah, and there are a few of your songs that kind of talk about that a little bit too. Many of them hit that topic along with like what it's like to just go to school and be like,
Yeah.
just silliness of being in school. So they're really fun, but there is a lot of seriousness to it as well.
Yeah.
So I know you've partnered with like the infamous mothers group to
Hmm.
start those conversations with young students,
Hmm.
and whatever the topic may be, whether we're talking about protests or we're talking about confidence or those feelings that our students are having, it can be really hard to start those conversations. Can you tell us some tips that have kind of worked well for you when because you taught 4K, right?
Yeah.
So you taught the babies. So
Uh-huh.
what kinds of things felt like they worked for you to discuss with the little ones?
Mhm.
Those bigger issues, those bigger topics.
Yeah, well, when I collabed with Infamous Mothers, I actually didn't know any of those kids until
Mm,
that. So it's really about relationship building right away and letting kids know that I see you. So
yeah.
instead of always pushing that you are getting talked at, instead like letting the students come to you and talk. So we had a virtual like slam poetry event, and the kids got to say their poems and talk about what they thought about George Floyd and the things that were happening. And just by doing that listening and them seeing that we were receptive of what they were saying, it right away clicked. And we did hours of just talking about like the world and sharing their art. And I would say a poem and they would say a poem. So I think what we have to do is relationship build from the first day of school, knowing who the kids are outside of just the academic side of it.
Yeah, completely. I mean, that hopefully is kind of our main goal as educators and as teachers, and hopefully humans, right, is to build
Yeah.
and connect with people, because that's the most exciting thing, is connecting with the people and the humans around us. And I love too that you're mentioning the fact that, especially with the younger ones, it's a lot more about listening to
Hmm.
them than it is about taking charge, right? Because
Yeah.
the way we listen then sort of shows us where the conversation can go. So what kinds of interesting questions or like poems or things came out of those conversations with those little ones?
Yeah. Well, I had some kids talk about they really wanted to understand the rioting and like what is a riot? Is this really a riot? And what I was talking to the kids about is that a lot of people are hurt, whether they weren't the actual person hurt by a police officer or whatever. They're passionate about their culture, their people, about like when I see something happen to a black man, I feel that because I am a black man. So just changing that terminology sometimes to because there's so much on the web that the kids are saying. So
Totally.
saying like a protest isn't necessarily bad. There's different ways that it can be positive, and this is how we actually do it. That was a big thing because I think during the height of the protests, a lot of people were being told that protesting is bad when it's actually
Hmm.
not done in a
Right.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think defining that for students too is, we were discussing it a little bit in our classroom, and I realized just how very little the words themselves the students
Mhm.
didn't know. Like, what does racism mean? What does protest mean? What does culture mean? Any of those things, like they don't know those words, or they've heard them, but they don't really know what they mean. So that's where the conversation then gets driven, because we can open up that a little bit for our students. So I think that's super helpful for sure. So okay, so you're not currently in the classroom, but I also am super psyched because I'm going to share some of the hilarious things you were sharing about virtual teaching. Like, what was teaching last year like for you? Because it was pretty bonkers. Like, how are you recovering? How are you doing from all of that?
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. I feel like the beginning of it, virtual teaching with 4K was just we didn't know what to expect. I was just learning on the fly too. And one of the things they really loved was to see me play with toys. So I would like have my own like Legos or my like Scrabble letters, and I would put a camera on my hands and then I would put a camera on my face so they could see two screens of like me with my face and also me like playing at the same time
I
because
love
kids
it.
want to see what you're doing. So that was one of the funniest things.
I love that. I feel like that's what a lot of kids watch on YouTube. Is that just me? Is they just like watch other kids play? I'm like,
Yeah.
what's happening? But like now they'll just watch Mr. Alexis play. It's fine, right?
Yeah, it was cool because we were like, let's have play dates, like type of
Yeah.
thing. So we dedicated at least one day of the week to just have like they play with their toys at home, and I would play with my toys, and we would talk about what we were doing, and it was just
Oh,
cool.
yeah. I love that. I mean, I feel like so many kids just love, oh, anybody really. They want to share about themselves, right?
Mm.
Because we all are, the thing we know most, the person we know most is us,
Yeah.
right? So we want to like take that and share it with other people. So I feel like I could even see my virtual students now, just, and I teach third through fifth right now virtually, but like wanting to just say, here's what's around me. Oh, look at my cat, whatever. Right? They just love sharing.
Yeah.
For 4K.
Yeah, and it's not often that you get to see what they have at home. So if it's like cool, then it's nice to see another side of like the kids.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So okay, bringing it back to the music side a little bit. Obviously, it writing music and creating an entire piece doesn't just happen in a second. So you just recently released your album.
Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Super exciting. And where can people find that if they want to listen to your music?
Yes, my most recent project is called Black Tears and Smiles, and it's available on all streaming platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, or you could also visit my website, dreamstartyoung.com, and it'll show you exactly where to go.
Perfect. Can you tell us like some of the top songs you're super proud of from that album? Like what the
Yeah,
content was a little bit?
yeah, one of my favorite songs was called ABC. And what I did is I took every letter of the alphabet and used it as an affirmation for Black students. And it's like a song that welcomes kids into the building and lets those students who often feel left out, let them know that you are welcome here. We love you. These are the things you can say about yourself. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's like spreading those messages of positivity, those self affirmations. It's all, I mean, just fits perfectly with what we want our students to feel and when they enter school, right? How long does it usually take you once you have an idea for a piece, or like, are you working on a lot of songs at a time? Can you just give us a little insight into your brain, your process?
Yeah. So lately I've been working on a lot of visuals to go alongside of the music. The music typically comes easy, so it'll take about 20-30 minutes to write like a song. But the videos I'm starting to learn more. So a video could go from 3 hours to like 5 hours, like throughout the week, trying to like splice everything perfectly. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but the videos have started to become my favorite thing because the kids just want to watch it over and over.
Yes, yes. And I mean, like, the art teacher in me just loves that there is then visual to go along with your music too, because it's like this whole performance. It's a
Yeah,
whole piece.
yeah,
So I'm super excited to share some of the videos that you've already created, some of them that people can kind of get their, get playing in their classroom. Now, do you approve of people playing them in their classroom for students? Is that cool with you?
yes, yes. I actually work with this organization called Whoopin' Soccer. And what we do is we take different stories that we're given from students within the Madison Metropolitan School District, and we turn those stories into songs or little short films and stuff. So I've been taking stories from like a student from Emerson and turning it into a great, fun song. So I
That's
love when
awesome.
ask and say, "Hey, can I use this?" And it's yeah, it's just for the kids.
Okay, so let's back it up a little bit because I feel like kids are going to see their creation, the creation that you create,
Uh-huh.
something that students you work with make, and be like, I want to do that. So
Yeah,
how can maybe those people that have limited musical ability or have a lot that they know about, how can people kind of like dabble with playing music, playing around with music creation in their classroom to encourage students to celebrate that?
yeah. I try to show the students that it's not as hard as like the industry makes it to be.
Sure.
When I would DJ for my school, I would bring just my tablet and I would show them I DJ on my tablet. And a lot
Nice.
have tablets now. And there's free programs you can download. I make all my beats on the program GarageBand, which
Mm-hmm.
my iPad and comes with the laptop. So just showing the kids that a lot of these programs are accessible, and don't let people tell you you have to spend $1,000 on a microphone or all these different things. I used to use a computer mic to record myself, and I would put a stocking on top and just rap off of that. So as long as the vocals are coming out, it's great.
I love it. Make it work, baby. I love it. So, okay, so kids, I mean, we know maybe the I don't know, rhythm of rap, right? There's like different parts that can kind of make up an artist and their style. But what advice would you give to a kid or a person if they were like, okay, I really want to just try this. I want to take this book that I made or this poem that I wrote or this journal entry. Like, how do you kind of get into that style besides just trying it?
Yeah. What I did with a lot of the students that I've worked with is I would first ask them to rap or read whatever they wrote to me.
Mm-hmm.
And as they practice it and went through it, then I would give suggestions like, hey, you should say it like this, or what if you said it like that? And it's just slowly taking apart each one of those lines. And then those kids just start to build their own like swag in the way they
I
want,
love it.
which is fun. It's just all about reciting it over and over. It becomes like a mantra or this feeling that comes to life. And you'll be surprised at how fast a student just starts to rap it in their own rhythm.
I mean, honestly, that's part of it too. Is like kids already have this inflection with how they talk and they get so excited. And I just feel like giving them that extra level of like, can we try it in this way? Just
Mm-hmm.
makes the engagement, the excitement about it so much more interesting. So I know a lot of educators, art educators, people are looking to share your content because there's so much self-affirmation for our students. And of course we know that, you know, if you're going to play one of Mr. Alexis's songs, it's going to be appropriate for the classroom. You don't need to like pre-watch it first. That's
Yeah.
always something that I feel like I struggle with, is I want to find these cool videos for kids, but I'm like, I gotta watch it first. I don't know what it's gonna be like, but like all your stuff is made for kids, which is amazing.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
people connect with me too, like I could help you with like if you have a specific theme or a specific thing you're working on, I probably have a song that connects with it. So if you
Yeah.
want to connect with
Yeah.
me,
Absolutely. We love that cross curricular kind of collaboration a little bit and connecting with people and artists and educators that know the theme, right? Um,
yep.
okay, so you have so many projects going on. I can't even keep track of all of it. You're like constantly working on things, but there's one that I'm really excited about that you're recently talking about and is like newly kind of like being released. Can you tell us about an American mythology?
Yes. So, an American Mythology is a concept album that I partnered with 11, 10 to 11 different BIPOC artists with Music Theater of Madison. And what we wanted to do is come up with different mythologies that we think America would have. And I decided to create a character that is fire and how fire has worked with the Black community throughout time. And it's beautiful. It's amazing how it's coming to life just as a piece of music, and we're hoping to get it on stage and to perform it for everybody too. So yeah.
It sounds so amazing. I mean, it's the perfect the the perfect example of when art, you know, when ideas become art, right? That collaboration at its finest. So
Mhm.
each, correct me if I'm wrong, each artist, each performer has a track on the album, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I personally did my song by myself, and then there's other artists who worked with maybe another instrumentalist or did vocals with other people. So it's cool to see how different artists chose to collaborate, and then what stories they told too. Because
Yeah.
I did hip hop, but there's others that sound like a folk song or a song for indigenous people. So it's great.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm really excited to listen. So are we able to listen to your piece yet?
Yep, my piece just released last Friday. So
Okay.
it's the website in the link in my bio, and you can click it and hear it.
Perfect. I will go ahead and share that too for anybody that's interested in that collaboration. That's obviously more of like working with adult collaborators,
Hmm.
but you can definitely check it out and see if you're interested in Alexis's work for sure. Okay, so let's bring it back to the education world a little bit because, especially with the Art of Ed, a lot of our audience is filled with art educators. Can you just tell us a little bit about what your experience was like when you were younger, whether it was in art or music, or how did you kind of find yourself expressing yourself creatively?
Yeah. What happened was my freshman year of high school, I was really inspired by my English teacher because I had a poetry like section with her, and she saw my interest in Langston Hughes and these different poets, and just started giving me books and started saying, "Oh, you probably would really like this." So stuff that was outside the curriculum, and that just really fostered like who I am today. So I really thank her for just encouraging me to dive deeper into what she saw I had an interest in. So for art teachers or any teachers, I would say if you see a student who really loves painting or really wants to stay after class to work on art, that's the perfect time to start suggesting artists they should look at, or giving them materials if you can to work at home so they can continue to just boost that confidence and get better.
Absolutely. I love that advice too, because I think, in an entire classroom of students, there's always like a few that kind of just you can tell are a little bit more super psyched about it. Like, don't mess with my art time, don't mess with my music time, my writing time, because this is like, so necessary for them as kiddos. And so I think that's really important too, to recognize that as an educator and then be able to hopefully support that. That's our job, right? Is to be there for those students. Well, I'm so glad you had an English teacher that was able to do that, because your music is poetry. Absolutely. Okay, so there's so many songs. I love your music videos too, especially because, again, visual artist, I'm like, yes, interesting cuts, like, so exciting. And I know, like, the kids love watching videos that are like, there's a lot going on, so I'm really excited to share some of those with my students in class as well. But can you tell us, are there any particular songs that you're just super proud of throughout your entire time of creating music, that you're just like, this is really special to me, this really is something you're really proud of?
Yeah, one that I did recently is called Air, and it was actually a student who wrote the story, and it was like 11 words, and it just talked about air. And I was like, I really love this story. So I turned it into a song where it's talking about the positive things that come from air, but also bringing awareness to wearing masks and like COVID and being healthy, and showing that we use air for bubbles and we use air for balloons, but air could also be something that passes and harms somebody else. So these are the steps we can take to actually help other people. And it was cool working on that video because I got to be silly and goofy, and I also got video submitted of different people showing them wearing their masks and like being 6 feet deep. So it was cool. Work with other people and work like on that project.
That's awesome. It's like, again, the ultimate collaboration. So I love too, because it's never just you creating in a vacuum, but it's like, what do the kids have to say? What do they have to offer? What are they questioning? And it's like, your music, your art mimics those questions and that conversation that kids are having too. What pieces do you have on the horizon that you're excited about? Like, I'm just psyched for what's coming next, because I love everything you've done so far. So where do you see yourself kind of going in the future?
Yeah, I am dreaming up more virtual content. And what I want to do is create my own TV show or my own like video series where I educate the students and families about DIY stuff, or just real world issues, or just positive things through music, and just constantly giving the kids something that they really love to watch, but they can learn from too. So I'm trying to be another Mr. Rogers, I guess.
I mean, you are your own self. I'll put it that way. But like, that positivity just shines through it's amazing, and I really hope you could do that, because I will play you for my kids all the time. It's so good. Like, a little music, a little conversation. It's a whole thing. It's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up a little bit today, one of my last questions that I'm going to ask before we end with a little special treat from from LEX here, is what parting words of advice do you have, words of encouragement? Like I said, there's a lot of educators that watch this. There's a lot of parents out there that are kind of just like, we're drained, right? There's been so much this year that's been hard for us, but how do you feel like we can move forward, and what advice do you have as we try?
Yeah, some of the helpful things that I've been doing are meditating, and also stretching and doing yoga, those positive things for my body and my mind. But when I'm feeling refreshed, making sure that I always am working on virtual content when I can, because even when school goes back to in person, those virtual things that we've created in those videos can be valuable for kids. I think what we've learned a lot with this virtual world is that if you create a video and you share it with families, they have that video for a long time now.
Yeah.
While we are just in person, a lot of that work doesn't get home or translate to home. So I would advise a lot of people to continue to work on your video skills, build your personality, and make that great content for the kids so it can live on forever.
I love that. It's like your own online portfolio of like ideas and subplans and videos and content that you can always come back to. It's been, really helpful. I know for myself, but also other teachers that are like, man, we've put out so many more ideas into the world, and especially thankful for people like you that are giving us even more content for our students to listen to. So I'm pretty psyched about that. Okay, so in a second, we are going to ask our question for our trivia here, so that, as you guys may know, anybody that's in the chat here, I'm going to ask a question that hopefully you will know the answer to, and then the first person that responds in the chat will win a sticker, and all you have to do is just message the Art of Ed and say, hey, I won the sticker today. Here's my address, and I will send you our super cool holographic sticker. But before we do that, Alexis, I was wondering if you would rap for us a little bit.
Yes. So usually I do a 4-bar Friday, and we decided we'll do like a 4-bar Monday. So I got 4 bars for you guys. Shout out to Sarah. I'm happy that you had me here. I wish this was in person, but this hasn't been an average year. Shout out to everyone for being here and my family. I do this for the world, so I'm glad that you had me.
I mean, that's amazing. I'm going to just replay that every morning. I'm like, yes, energy. Thank you so much, Alexis. And y'all, you have to follow his stuff and check out his music, check out his work. Thank you so much for doing that for us. I really appreciate it. And for joining us for our chat today. So after we get off the chat here, I'm going to go ahead and share a bunch of amazing content. He has some really beautiful videos and articles and things that people have created about what Alexis is doing with his music, as well as places that you can find his music and share that with your students and with your artists to help encourage any type of creativity that they might be interested in. So we're going to end with our last question, which is our trivia question for one lucky winner. So first person to answer in the chat here is going to get their hands on this really cool sticker. And the question is, where can you listen to Alexis's music? So answer in the chat, where can you listen to Alexis's music? First answer is going to win this cool sticker. I know, it's like 10 seconds after, so you and I have to chat with each other for 10 seconds, and it seems like nobody knows. But they do. They will. Maybe. I don't know. Come on, y'all. All right, Jessica, I'll give it to you. Jessica Rivera. Yes, iTunes, Spotify, his website, any of those places you can download his music and listen and share it with your students. And you have some stuff on YouTube too, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so I'll be sharing some of those things, especially like his rap alouds from those stories that you can play for your students. It's amazing. Okay, Rivera Jessica 100, go ahead and message the Art of Ed, and I will make sure I get you your sticker. The rest of you, thank you so much for joining today. This will be saved to IGTV, so y'all can watch it and share it, and be sure to go ahead and follow Alexis, because you're awesome. All right, well, have a great Monday, and we'll chat later. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.